Houston, we have a problem.
Give me all you got!
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Give me back my gun! I didn't kill my wife! I don't care!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Stand and Watch, the best and only dad movie podcast you're ever going to listen to because we killed all the other ones.
We murdered them in their sleep. That's why we took a long break from recording. More popped up while we were gone. And we were like, all right, we need to, like, we've been recording a lot. We got to get these dad podcasts. They were overpopulated. So we went and we cleared them out. Humanely, of course.
Yeah, they were
Humanely.
we took them behind the barn and we did what needed to be done. And then we had a nice long break to avoid the heat that was on us. Although there's no break for the listeners. It's just for us.
No break. You just right back into it.
Yeah.
Hey, we're over here gone for a month, snapping podcasters' necks and yelling Zod. And you guys have just been listening this entire time.
Yeah, every week there's been a new one. They don't even know that we've been on the run for snapping necks and yelling Zod.
We've been goofing off.
Yeah. Anyway, hello all you standees, and of course Steve Buscemi. As always, I'm your host,
Hey,
Matt.
Steve. I'm the other guy, Nick.
And for today's very special bonus episode, we have a special guest, a returning guest, our second ever returning guest. To you, I want to make this clear before he says hello. The listeners will be like, well, I think this is the first returning guest. To you, he is. But to us, technically, he's the second one. The first returning guest, their episode hasn't aired yet. But trust me, he's the second one. Okay? So don't be emailing, there was no returning guest before Stu. There was.
Say the man's name so he can say hello. He wants to say hello.
I got to keep our bit going of making it awkward for the guests to say hello. Say hello, Stu.
Hi, how's everybody doing? I empathize with what you're saying about how you guys are talking about having had a break, but there's not a break for the listeners. Because I have the opposite problem where recently, if you've listened to any episodes of my show comes out 3 times a month. So there's a span of like 2 months where I'm talking about being sick because I recorded 6 episodes in like a week.
Oof.
So like that whole week, I'm just talking about like, well, I'm recording, but I don't feel well. I hope I sound okay. So it didn't dawn on me that when those episodes actually aired, it was going to be 2 months of my sorry ass talking about being sick. It makes me sound like I'm a small, frail child from like 1500s England or something.
We
You're
had
Tiny Tim. You're the Tiny Tim of podcasting.
we had a run where we were like 6 weeks ahead. So we couldn't talk about anything topical without sounding like just like people that are just hung up on the past.
Yeah, I know how that goes. I record months in advance, so I can't do anything topical either. I get it.
I know. I'm still waiting for our episode to drop of your show.
One was that? Which one did we do?
Men in Black 2.
Men in Black 2.
Wait, Men in Black 2 hasn't dropped yet?
I don't think so.
Oh, no.
So
It hasn't.
This man's second appearance is dropping before the first appearance.
Matt has been on before.
We need to clean this up.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember. Did we do Men in Black before or after the first time Stu was on?
That was Men in Black was the first time, right?
Well, that was his show.
Yeah.
And
was that his show? I thought that was our show.
No, our show was Prospect. Did we do Prospect or Men in
okay.
Black first? I feel like we did Prospect first.
Like we did Prospect first. And I looked it up, actually. Men in Black 2 is my next episode. My newest episode came out today, July 2nd. My next episode is July 12th, Men in Black 2.
Okay, so this will probably come out around the 9th because we wanted to come out before the new Superman movie comes out on the 11th, which means, yes, both of your appearances on our show will drop before our appearance on yours.
Okay, that's fine. I thought you had said that like our episode that he was on hadn't dropped yet. I was beside myself over here.
See,
it's like, did we really get that far ahead?
We're in a vortex of recording ahead. We don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, I feel I feel like I got, at the end of Endgame or the end of whichever one where everyone gets snapped away. I feel like I got snapped away for the last month, and now I'm coming back, and I'm like, wait a minute, when did we record this? Why isn't this out yet? Like an episode will drop, and I'll be like, wait a minute, I watched that back in March.
Recording into the future is the way to go. Never look back.
It is the way to
record
go.
well into the future.
I love it. We took a month off, and we're still going to be like 3 weeks ahead, and I'm disappointed. I'm like, we got to get that number up.
Me too. I was after I was thinking about recording tonight, and I was like, you know what? Next Friday we have the double feature. Do we sneak another episode in after that? And then I came back to my senses. I was like, no, you dumbass. You have a double feature. Watch those fucking movies and shut the fuck up.
I mean, the week after we can maybe sneak two, and we'll get back up to we'll get back up to 6 episodes ahead very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, watching movies is the easiest thing. It's so easy.
Yeah, I envy the people with video game podcasts who are like, we're going to talk about a video game every episode. It's like, good luck.
Like, oh yeah, you're going to talk about the first 2 hours of a video game and then never talk about it again. Okay, gotcha. Check.
Yeah. Today's
Check,
episode
buddy,
next episode is about Final Fantasy X. It'll drop in 8 months when we've both had time to play through it.
Me and Matt, we're going to sit down and talk about the first 2 hours of Claire Obscure. And then we do that, and then the end of the year. All right, we're going to talk about the last 10 hours of Claire Obscure.
Oh.
If you missed the first 2 hours, you have to go back and listen to that episode all the way back from June.
Yeah. That's not what we're talking about, though. What we actually are talking about is the first 2.5 hours of Superman, the movie from 1978, which is the only 2.5 hours because it's a 2.5 hour movie.
Unless you have the 3-hour extended cut.
There's a 3-hour extended cut of this?
Yes. I've never seen it. I've never seen access to it anywhere, but going through Letterboxd reviews for today, I saw people occasionally talking about, well, I saw the 3-hour extended cut edition. There's apparently an extended cut and a director's cut.
Wow.
Neither of which have I ever seen. I believe the version I have is just the theatrical.
I think that's the only version I've ever seen. Nick has never seen this movie before. Just so everybody knows.
Time. I watched it on Max, and instead of just starting the movie right away, I guess it's part of their Turner Classic Movies. And so the movie begins, but it cuts to a guy standing in a nice little room wearing a suit, and he talks about a little bit of the history of the movie. And it immediately made me miss linear TV, like the old TBS dinner in a movie where you'd be watching Legally Blonde, and it cuts back to some guy our age now, and he'd be like, I'm going to show you how to make a Caesar salad.
You know what?
And then
I think that was a little bit before my time, but let's bring it back.
It was fun because then there'd be the person actually making the salad, and then there'd be the other goofball making jokes, and then there was someone in the booth like cutting to parts of the movie to like make a wisecrack. So like they'd take something that like if it were this movie, it would something Lex says, and it's like a joke towards one of the hosts or whatever. But it was fun. Like I would be more likely to watch a movie as a kid if it was on TBS because I loved watching dinner in a movie.
I remember the concept of dinner in a movie. I don't know that I ever watched a single episode of it, but I remember I was too busy watching Mystery Science Theater. Let's be honest. If I was watching my movies on television, that's how I was getting them delivered to me.
I don't think as a kid, I remember people talking about Mystery Science Theater 3000, but never did we ever venture out. I couldn't tell you what channel it was on. I couldn't tell you if it was ever had like a DVD release. I was just aware of it, and I was like, I mean, okay. It was kind of the theater kids that were always talking about it, so I was like, I don't know about these theater kids.
Hey man, no need to besmirch the theater kids.
They besmirch themselves enough as it is. Before we get into things, do you want me to read this wiki? I got the wiki up for Superman. Let me read this first paragraph. I'm not getting things out of order, am I? I'm sitting here.
No, that's
sitting here doing things in my brain.
That's what we do. You read the wiki, and then more things happen.
All right. Superman, also marketed as Superman the Movie, is a 1978 superhero film based on DC Comics featuring the eponymous character played by Christopher Reeve. It is the first of 4 installments in the Superman film series starring Reeve as Superman. Film was directed by Richard Donner, based on a screenplay by Mario Puzo. Yes, that one. David Newman, Leslie Newman, and Robert Benton. Film features an ensemble cast including Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Jeff East, Margot Kidder, Glenn Ford, Phyllis Thaxter, Jackie Cooper, Trevor Howard, Mark McClure, Terrence Stamp, Valerie Perrine, Ned Beatty, Jack O'Halloran, Maria Schell, and Sarah Douglas. It depicts the origin of Superman, including his infancy as Kal-El on Krypton, son of Jor-El, Brando, and his youthful years in the rural town of Smallville. Guys, reporter Clark Kent, he adopts a mild-mannered disposition in Metropolis and develops a romance with Lois Lane Kidder while battling the villainous Lex Luthor Hackman. Just reading through that ensemble cast kind of blows my mind. The people that were attached to this. I know that people look at folks that join the MCU and they kind of like roll their eyes these days, but kind of feels like it's always been a thing.
This was a big movie at the time.
At the time, the guy who came up before the movie started from the Turner Classic Movies was like, this was the most expensive movie for its time. At one point, at I think it was $55 million.
Yes.
Was the cost? Was the budget? The reported budget?
Such a quaint number nowadays.
Well, what is that with inflation?
I'm sure it's well over 100, right?
I'm gonna Google this. Okay, so it
Doing the math.
It cost 55 million, and it made
Cost 55 million.
1978.
It made 300 million.
Yeah, I'm bad with the inflation math. It's changing all the time, you know.
I'm gonna say 19. Well, it was probably filmed in 77.
77, yeah.
So I'm saying,
But came out right at the end of 78, so it's not inconceivable it was filmed in early 78.
that's true. They filmed movies fast back then. Didn't take them 3 years and 85 green screens. Let me see if I can get a production date. Filming, principal photography began on March 28th, 1977.
Okay.
Okay. 7 to 20.
Carry the 5.
Inflation
Minus 3.
calculator. All right. If this website is correct, 50. No, that's not 55 million. That's 55,000. God damn it.
He's using the inflation calendar on the Joe Rogan Experience website.
Typed in 55 million and it just auto enters to 55,000. Okay. How many zeros are in it?
55 million in 1978. What website are you using?
In 2013dollars.com.
You're a decade
You're still
away.
12
What are you
years
doing?
off.
No, it lets you pick the year.
What are you doing?
It lets you pick the year. That's just what the website's called.
I mean, if you calculate $55,
Okay.
so $55 in 1978, that translates to $279.52 in 2025. So if you
Okay.
want to do the math there, it's almost $300.
It's $291 million. Almost $292 million. But it made $300 million.
Right. So it had a pretty healthy showing.
So it
Pretty healthy.
made $1.5 billion. Not too shabby.
Like Avengers money.
Yeah. That's almost James Cameron money.
Did they have James Cameron do the sequel?
Superman's.
Was he old enough for that?
The dollar
Superman's
sign.
They had-
the dollar sign.
They had a very controversial Richard Lester did the sequel.
Well, he did half of it.
He did half, and you can still find the unfinished Donner cut, possibly.
If James Cameron did a Superman sequel, would it be Superman's? Or would he just put the dollar sign at the first S?
You know, you're onto something here. It would be a complete tone shift, right? Because this first one's a romance, right? This is a romantic movie. This is a little romantic movie.
So the second
And so
one,
then the
he
next
would
one-
be snapping Zod's neck.
He'd be snapping Zod's neck while screaming, Zod!
Ah!
Sorry, my mic only caught part of that. Damn you, Discord. Always cutting off the epic yells. I've got my dad approved letterbox review here if you guys want to jump into those.
Yes. I also
right.
have mine.
So I have my review here from Brian Espetia. He is a patron saint of Letterboxd. Good for you, sir. He gave the movie 5 stars on a heart, and he said, "Do you like Pink?" And he said, "I like Pink very much, Lois." Such a sexually charged scene in a movie I was not expecting to have. I was not expecting that at all because MCU, I mean, no one has sex in the MCU. It's just never happened.
I saw one review. This wasn't mine, but I saw one review that also quoted that scene and was just like that scene alone would cause MCU fans to explode.
Panties, not panties. No.
Yeah. Is that your whole review? They just quoted that?
They just quoted that. Oh, he said hot at the bottom. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Hot.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Even I had to fan myself there. I was like, oh my God.
Do you think
this is the horniest Superman I've ever seen?
Do you think any people
Lois
these
Lane is very horny in this movie.
Do you think anybody these days watches that for the first time and goes, he really shouldn't be using his X-ray vision for that? That's a breach of privacy. He should be ashamed of himself.
There's
It's after
someone
he
watching.
checks her for lung cancer, so
He didn't have to do that. That was very nice of him.
Yeah, good for him.
There's someone watching this in 2025 for the first time, and then they're like, you know what? I need to invent lead clothing. I need to invent lead clothing so he can't see anything. It's ridiculous.
Somebody
This
out
is
there is trying to
invasion of
cancel.
privacy.
Somebody out there is trying to cancel 1978 Superman for this.
I mean, if you're trying to cancel Christopher Reeve in 2025, I got bad news for you.
Okay, I got my review here. This review comes from Killian Morlaze. I've heard it both ways. Who is also a patron saint of Letterboxd, who gave the movie 4 stars and wrote, Clark Kent's glasses have the same power as Hannah Montana's wig.
Yeah, I know we all know Clark Kent is Superman, but I mean, is he selling it in this movie? Because that's something I always look for when I'm watching a Superman movie, to be like, okay, is he really selling that he's not? Because he's got the demeanor wise, this might be the best Clark Kent I've ever seen. He's just this big fucking dork.
I mean, we can obviously get into this, but I have it in my notes about this.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead. I'm getting ahead of everybody.
Stu, what is your dad approved Letterboxd review?
Letterboxd review comes from Luke SF, who is a pro user of Letterboxd. He gives Superman 1978 4.5 stars and a heart, and his review simply says, showing this to a geography student was thrilling, ...
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know what the geography has to do with anything, but sure, that's, give it to a geography student. What do they make of it?
Well, there's a lot of things with fault lines.
Wouldn't that be geology, though?
Well, I mean, I guess once Luther does his little scheme with the fault lines, the geography changes.
That's fair. That is fair.
Wherever Otisburg, that's geography, baby.
Can I ask, when was the first time each of you saw this? Like, you don't have to say, like, I guess you could say your age, but like, I don't know.
I don't know how old I was. I saw this when I was a kid. We had it on VHS. This was in the era when like VHS was like transitioning away to DVDs. So we had one of those like dual DVD VHS players, and we had Superman the movie on VHS. It was one of the only. We never ended up getting it on DVD, but I would always watch it on VHS. I might have been like 5 or 6.
A young fella. What about you, Stu?
So I definitely saw this when I was a kid. I have no idea how old I was whenever I saw it, but I saw it when I was a kid, and then I watched it for my podcast almost to the day, to the month, 2 years ago. I watched it August 2nd, 2023, or whenever I did it for my podcast. So that was my most recent watching before today.
So I asked because, I mean, I've seen older superhero movies. This might be the oldest I've watched in quite some time. If I went back, my first superhero movie was probably one of the first X-Men or the first Spider-Man. I was 10 around that time, so I might have just given away my birth year, but whatever. But I look back at watching this now, like I loved how simple this was. And I just wonder if you guys still have the fondness for this, or if you're like, no, I need my doomsday beam of light in the air, like fault lines. What the fuck are fault lines? I'm not a scientist.
I'm not a geography student.
Yeah, it's weird because I was, I'm younger than you, but like when I grew up, like my superhero movies were the Tim Burton Batman and Spider-Man. Like I didn't even I think the first X-Men movie I saw was The Last Stand in, like,
You
Oof.
poor,
right?
you poor child.
Like, and I probably saw that, like, in 2000, like, and I didn't even see it, like, when it came out. I saw it, like, on TV, like, a year or 2 later. So, like, I was a kid and, like, I guess, like, Spider-Man was the superhero movie of my generation, but, like, also it was for me, it was that and Michael Keaton's Batman and Christopher Reeve's Superman.
That's a good set of superheroes there. I did see the Tim Burton one. I think I saw that pre Spider-Man. But the one I remember like the most fondly is probably that first Spider-Man out of anything.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that are like, "Oh, these superhero movies, they're ruining everything and they're all bad." Like, there's still good ones. Some Marvel movies are still good. They're
There's some good ones. Thunderbolts was fine.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard nothing but good things about Thunderbolts. I liked Deadpool and Wolverine. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I have no interest in Captain America: Brave New World. It looks like a bland milquetoast whatever, right? Fantastic Four looks like a good movie. Every time they trot out one of their geriatric cameos for Doomsday, I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Bring
I
RDJ back and just cast him as a new character. No one will
Yeah,
notice.
right? I'm not one of these people that are like, "Oh, these Marvel movies are slop." Like, there's some really good Marvel movies, but, like, on the whole, I do think if you, like, stack them up against this, most of them lose.
Yeah, and I think it's just the because I think of and I know it's a TV show, but I think of WandaVision. Like WandaVision when that came out, it felt different. It felt fresh compared to the normal. Here's the superhero origin. Here's the bad guy. There's a beam of light in the sky. They're gonna fight it out over the city. WandaVision kind of got away from that, but then by the end of it, they got back to it. And you're like, no, you had this thing and you were doing great. Stop it. You don't have to remind us you're in the MCU. That's what Darcy's here for. Come on.
Yeah,
So it's always aggravating to me when something is being when they're experimenting and trying new things, but then they put like they're like, okay, we got to play it safe. If they don't see a beam of light, they're gonna freak out and not come back.
and it's
And
weird.
it feels
It's weird too, because like, the first you look at, like, Phase 1 Marvel movies, like, you look at Iron Man, and, like, that's a movie with, like, a character arc, and, I mean, I guess there's a beam in the sky, but it's, like, it's not like a world-ending beam, it's just, like, a beam that he shoots out because, like, to kill the bad guy. So, but, like, it's a movie with character arc and, like, a story, and it's not just building up to a beam in the sky, "We gotta save the world." Like, it's a very, like, I don't wanna it's a very, like, singularly focused movie, and it probably has more in common with this than other MCU movies when they get into, "We need our beam in the sky, we need an army of aliens, we need somebody to pop out of a portal."
well, I don't want to turn this into a shit on the MCU hour. Like we can talk about like where they've gone wrong for the last phase and a half or whatever. But I mean, again, I'm watching this for the first time. I don't know if you guys want to get into the positivity sandwich or anything right now. Uh, but I really enjoy that this movie sets up a lot that doesn't get paid off until another film, I assume. Like they do the Phantom
Yes.
Zone right at the beginning. And part of me was like, okay, they'll come back at the end. Like I'm so like modern movie brain that I was like, okay, they'll do an end credits scene, whatever. No, wait, it's 1978, Nick. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah, let's get into the sandwich.
This is a really good Clark Kent.
This
I don't know many Clark Kents. I've only known the few that Zack Snyder has graced me with. But I really enjoyed this Clark Kent. He seems almost buffoonish.
Yes. What I You mean you don't care for the Zack Snyder Clark Kent that's just Superman but with glasses and shaggy hair, but acts the exact same?
I just wonder how no one has pointed out that he's Superman in that universe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I worry, without having seen the movie yet, just from the trailers, I worry that James Gunn's Clark Kent is going to be the same. Like he's just going to be Superman with glasses. And Christopher Reeve wasn't. Christopher Reeve was two different characters in
Yes.
this movie. Like Clark Kent and Superman are very different human beings, the way he portrays them. And I don't understand how anybody else who has played Superman hasn't watched this movie and gone, "Oh, do that. Okay."
I think
Because
there's
ever since then, it's just been, I'm Superman, and now I'm Superman with glasses on, and it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I think there's a scene in the trailer when she's interviewing him, where you kind of see a switch. Then I'm like, okay, maybe he's got some. But he is a very large man that you'd be like, well, look at this guy, right? And what Christopher Reeve does is he changes his body compositions. Like he's slouching, he makes himself look shorter, and like somehow he makes himself look less like fit.
hmm
And yeah, he's playing two different characters. And
Does a completely different voice for each of them.
different voice, different mannerisms, different body posture, just different physicality. And he's playing two different characters, and he's playing both of them as well, if not better, than most people have ever played one character in a superhero movie. And he's doing them both, and he's switching between them on a whim.
And it got me thinking, like, I don't know too many roles, superhero roles especially, where someone has played, like, had to play the hero and the alter ego, where like they both stand out. Because I think back to Spider-Man, like people really like Toby's Peter Parker, they don't like his Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, I think, was the opposite. I think maybe the closest was Bale as Batman. I don't know, like I haven't seen any of the Burton Batmans in a while, and I would need to touch up on it. But do you guys think there's anyone that like holds a candle to Reeves when it comes to having both?
I don't think there is. There's the scene when he's in Lois's apartment and he's like thinking about telling her, and he switches like from Clark to Superman, and then back to Clark, and it's like, I don't know, man. It's he does it, and you're like, that's a different person.
Mhm.
Like within the span of 3 seconds, he turns into a different person and back again.
To your point, though, yeah, I know, I agree. I've always thought the same thing, and it's a very popular opinion what you just said about Tobey Maguire is a good Peter, not a great Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is a great Spider-Man, not a particularly great Peter, and Tom Holland is kind of like the middle version of each.
Right.
But yeah, no, I don't think anybody has done secret identity character as well as Christopher Reeve, because even Michael Keaton, as much as we as a society have built up Michael Keaton and we love him and everything, his Bruce Wayne was just Batman. Like his Bruce Wayne was just him doing Batman. Like Bruce Wayne as a character should not be yelling at the Joker, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." It's like that's not Bruce Wayne as a character. That's just Batman without his mask on. Like we were talking about Superman with glasses on. That's just Batman without a mask on. So I don't think he did the secret identity particularly as well as he could have. But no, I think Reeve is a class by himself, and a lot of other superheroes, especially in the modern day, they've kind of foregone the secret identity thing. Like RDJ never had to play Tony Stark and then also play Iron Man. They were the same person. Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is Doctor Stephen Strange. It's the same person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a lost art.
It is, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they were just like, listen, we can't do it as good. Nobody can, so let's just not do it.
Yeah.
I think they're like legitimately, like you can make the argument, like I don't know how many superhero movies have happened since this movie came out. You can make the argument he's still the best casting.
Oh, he's top 5, like without a doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, unless you're just the diehardest of diehard Zack Snyder cultists. I don't understand how you can say Christopher Reeve is not one of the 5 best superhero castings of all time. And for me, like, I'm just saying top 5 to be generous to other people who would put other people ahead of him. Like, for me, he's probably number 1.
Yeah, like I mean, you can make the argument for Robert Downey Jr., I think.
Like I said, he had less to do than Christopher Reeve did. Like great performances,
yeah.
love him as Iron Man. He's really set the bar that I don't know anybody else could play that character for years and years, but he didn't have to do as much as Reeve did.
I really think Reeve is still the best superhero cast. I mean, if you include other characters, like not just the heroes, like maybe J.K. Simmons,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But if we're just talking just strictly the superheroes themselves, I don't know who beats them.
No, not even. I mean, not even Wolverine. I mean, mutant. I don't know if he's a superhero, but
Yeah.
yeah, because he's just playing Logan the entire time.
Right.
See, I don't know.
Like
I don't
even,
know.
right? Even then, like yeah, I'm not, yeah, Hugh Jackman, definitely top 5, right? But
Yeah.
honestly, I just think at this point, it's like if you're doing a top 5, it's Christopher Reeve and then the other 4.
Yes. I don't disagree. That would be my ranking. And like, I love actors like Ian McKellen as Magneto. I think he completely owned that character. I think Christopher Reeve did Superman better.
Yeah.
I mean, I could make an argument for Charlie Cox as Daredevil and Matt Murdock, but I haven't seen anyone else play Daredevil or Matt Murdock, so maybe Affleck fucking did it, and I don't know.
Even Ben Affleck would disagree with you.
Affleck's like, no, stop. Just give Charlie his flowers. Leave me out of the discussion, please.
Yeah, it's not just okay. Like Christopher Reeves, obviously, everybody in this movie is incredible.
Yes.
Hollywood
Um,
used to have really talented actors.
I
and
think
used to you build people up.
you can. I mean, maybe you can make the case that Marlon Brando was phoning it in, but which he definitely was, and he didn't even bother to learn how to pronounce Krypton.
That is the best part of this movie, is just saying Krypton over and over
the planet.
again.
You are from the planet Krypton. Yeah, reading his lines off of cue cards.
How many years before Fat Brando was this?
I think this might be on the border.
Yeah, this was getting close to Fat Brando.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read something today that said he just kind of showed up and Donner was like, all right, let's run through some lines. And Brando was like, no, run the camera right now and take the first take that I give you.
Yeah, and he got paid the most for this too, which I don't know. But yeah, crook bloke, but I mean, Marlon Brando phoning it in is still better than most actors.
Yes, correct.
When I saw he was in this, I was like, oh no. But then I saw who he was. I was like, okay, he's here for a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's here for more than you think he's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's good. Perry. I really love Perry White and Jimmy Olsen in this.
Mm.
I think Perry.
I like a good Jimmy.
Jimmy is great. I think Perry's really good little like newspaper editor, like yelling at people like, "Get me a drink. What are you doing? What do I pay you for?"
Don't call me sugar.
Yeah. I mean, I have Hackman as his own note.
What's the deal with him? So I'm watching this. I know Lex Luthor's like this playboy billionaire that hates Superman, and he's just your atypical billionaire. But is he in hiding? Because he's living underground in a cool little like subway that has a pool. And I'm like, I want this lair. This is the coolest lair I've ever seen a supervillain have.
It's a nice lair. I don't know what Lex Luthor was like in the comic books at this time.
I was going to say this is, and I'm going to use comic book terms that you guys may or may not be familiar with. So I'll just use terms that if you need me to define anything, let me know. But this is pre-crisis Superman.
Okay.
And typically in the pre-crisis Superman universe, Lex Luthor was more of like evil criminal mastermind than businessman.
Okay.
Businessman Lex Luthor is something that came typically post-crisis. So in pre-crisis, he was just a supervillain. Like that was his role. So in this movie, they're going based off this idea that he's just a villain who has an underground lair and he doesn't live up in LexCorp Tower or what have you.
Okay, yeah, that was my understanding. Like, cause in the movie, he's like the cops are looking for him. They're following Otis, and they say he's like a criminal. That they're a dangerous criminal. And I know a lot of people are like, Hackman, he's not really like Lex Luthor, and I always wonder, well, I know like the Lex Luthor we know now is LexCorp, runs for president, blah 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 blah, rage baiter. What was he like was he like that in the 70s? Like maybe Hackman was a comic book accurate Luthor, and it sounds like I guess he was.
For the era, yeah, he was. The only thing that was missing is like the green and purple leotard that he wore, but yeah, like he was more of a villain than a businessman. So yeah, this is fitting to the era.
Yeah, I think God. Gene Hackman, this was just my letterbox. Gene Hackman is so charismatic. I almost started rooting for Lex Luthor to win. Right? Like
he's clearly having a blast.
He's having so much fun.
I wish I had as much joy doing anything in my life as he gets out of playing Lex Luthor.
I wish I could find as much joy in anything as he has yelling Miss Tessmacher.
Miss Tessmacher.
Tessmacher! Like it's so good. And he's just having a fun time capping, and he's so charismatic. God, I miss Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so good in
Gone too
this.
soon.
And I love the little scene where he outsmarts Superman. He like 'cause he knows Superman's gonna like look in his little lead covered box and assume that's the detonator, and know it's the
That yeah,
kryptonite. Like,
a sly little fucker.
yeah, he's a sly little. He's got a shit-eating grin on his face when like Superman's like, "You thought you could hide it from me," and he's like, "Oh no," it's so
Please don't
good.
open that box.
Yeah, it's so
Don't do
good. He's so good. He's got the best shit-eating grin when he's like robbing the missile, and he shows up as he shows up as the ambulance driver, and then he goes back as the truck driver because Otis fucked it up.
Yeah, I was not expecting this to be funny. And then Otis has the numbers written on his wrists. He's like, I did 4, 7, and then 117. He's like, wait, there were 4. It's supposed to be 11 and 7, you moron.
Yeah, he's always clowning out. I think what's the line he says? He's like, you know what? What's the line? He's like, do you know what the number 118 like means for both of us or whatever? He's like, no, it's your weight and my IQ.
I do miss having like the dumb henchman who like takes like the beating, like almost a LeFou. Beauty and the Beast is like constantly on in my house. I have young children. I miss LeFou. We need more LeFous.
Yeah, he's got the cool layer. He's got a dumb henchman and he's got a hot henchman kind. I don't know if she's a henchman.
Was she a henchman or like a love interest? I don't know.
I don't think it's quite clear what their relationship is, but I mean, she like helps with the
I
heist.
think she's just a henchman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's having so
Yeah,
much.
but she didn't
He's
do
so
anything.
good.
She's just he's like, hey, we're gonna fix this accident. Go lay over there.
Yeah,
And then the
beautiful
paramedics
dress.
or the firemen show up, and it's just or whatever they are. What are they? They're
Army
military
men.
men.
They're soldiers.
Army men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all right, hey, don't give her CPR. I'm gonna give her CPR. All right, everyone make a circle. I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. The
Yeah,
military's running rampant. Oh, this is an issue.
yeah. Every Lex scene is so fun. He's God. I miss Gene Hackman.
I almost wish he was in the movie just a little earlier.
Yeah,
Just a little. I just wanted a little more. I mean, I only have one issue with the movie, and that is that the first 45 minutes are just kind of slow.
yeah. I mean, yeah. You could introduce, and I love his entrance too, because you don't see him. You just see the cop following Otis, and you kind of see his silhouette at his little, computer, like security monitor, and he pushes the button to push the guy onto the tracks.
It's a good intro. It's menacing. That guy's dead, right? He gets hit by the train, right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. That guy
he's
is
donezo.
Yeah, he's donezo. But yeah,
Okay.
all the Lex stuff is so fun. Like even when he's like explaining his plan to Superman, like, and I'm gonna blow up the fault line, and I bought all this real estate, and I'm gonna own the West Coast, and it's gonna be Lutherville and Lextown and Otisburg, and he gets upset that Otis tried to name one of the towns after himself. He's like, Otisburg? Well, boss, I just thought Otisburg. Well, she gets one, Otisburg. He's like, okay, I'll change it. And Superman's just standing there listening to this.
It made me think of the scene in Despicable Me, and I just realized the minions are where all the goofy henchmen went. They're minions now. The scene where he's going over his plan and he's ripping the pages out, and he gets to the last page, which is just like a coloring that one of the girls did. It immediately reminded me of that. I was like, oh no, I watched way too much Despicable Me.
As long as it's the first Despicable Me, I don't think that can be a problem.
Second one's okay too.
Okay, I don't think I've seen the second. I think I saw like the Minions movie and just assumed they were all terrible after the first one.
Despicable Me 1 through 3, pretty good. 3's got the best.
Okay.
And does anybody have anything else positive before we get? Because I guess you said you had an.
I kind of jumped the shark there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude.
I got the yips. I got the podcast yips.
Stu, do you have anything else? I mean, we're gonna have more positives later, but
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I could gush on this movie forever, so we can move on to what we have to complain about, because I mean I have so many positives for this movie. I love this movie.
I'm sure our complaining portion will be quite brief. Nick, what is your one problem with it?
Just the first 45 minutes are just kind of slow. Like, I get that you're doing the origin story, you're showing the destruction of Krypton. You're you're having Clark sent off into space, grows up in Smallville. Introduce what's his high school crush's name? Her name's Lana, right?
Lana
Yes,
Lang.
Lana Lang.
Does she come back later in the series at all? 'Cause I know she
is
was big in the
Superman
cartoon.
3.
Okay. I remember just her being very prominent in the Batman Superman cartoon on WB. And I was like, oh, that's what's her. That's the redhead that he really liked. And so they do all that. Papa Kent has a heart attack, and so that kind of sets him off onto his path. I was just like, let's get to Metropolis, please. Come on, let's get there. And I just because then once it gets there, you're like, oh wow, we've only got like so much time left. When are Superman and Luthor really gonna cross paths? Because we're clock's running out here, guys. Otherwise,
I do think you can cut. I think you can cut. Honestly, you probably could cut everything from Krypton. I know they have it and it sets up 2, but you can just have that in 2 and nobody really would complain, right? I think you can cut all of Krypton and just start it with the Kents finding him.
yeah, because Krypton's a good 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
And
they do that cool space stuff with like the faces being projected on the wall. Guilty. Like it's cool stuff, but it's like it's not really. I mean, I get it. You're doing it for the Superman heads that are coming to watch that and want it to be everything that it's going to be in the 2.5 hours they're being promised. But I was just like, all right, come on, Krypton, blow up.
I think you get rid of Krypton and you just start it with the Kents finding him.
I think you could actually use in the beginning, though, or maybe sprinkled throughout the movie. I think you could use more of the Kents because the Kents establish who he becomes. Like, he becomes the good all-American, save everybody and I'm a good citizen boy because of the Kents. And I feel like this movie kind of undersells them in the importance of his origin. It's more like they raised him and then John died. And then he went for 7 years and just hung out in the Fortress of Solitude and listened to Jor-El talk to him. And I feel like that downplays how important Ma and Pa Kent are to who he is.
Yeah, because it kind of cuts from they find him, and then he's in school, and the jocks are messing with him, and he beats them to wherever they're going. He's like, "How did you get here?" "I ran." And his dad's like, "Showing off again, are you, Clark?" And he gives him a nice little speech, and then 10 seconds later he has a heart attack and dies. And
It's very fast. It's an abbreviated version of what I wanted to see from that relationship.
I would much rather have 20 extra minutes of that than Krypton. And it almost does feel like they blew their budget on Marlon Brando so they couldn't afford Glenn Ford for more than 10 minutes. And I just think you just reverse that. You don't need more of Jor-El than the fucking hologram that he finds in the Fortress of Solitude.
And you clearly know this movie's already getting a sequel before it even comes out, because otherwise the Jor-El stuff with Zod at the beginning makes no goddamn sense. So you already know Superman 2 is coming out, so you can just throw all the Jor-El stuff into Superman 2, and that's fine.
I believe they filmed them back to back, so like there really was no reason that they had to put it in there, other than I guess for the Superman heads.
You wanted to put Brando on the poster. You wanted to put Brando up on the marquee. That's the only reason I could think of.
Probably, but I mean, do you even need that? You have Gene Hackman.
Yeah. I don't mean to Gene Hackman. I'm sorry. No disrespect, Mr. Hackman. Please.
I don't know.
Don't haunt me.
I feel like I don't know. What I guess this was just after The Godfather, so I guess Brando was big again, but I mean like Gene Hackman was like the guy in the 70s.
Yeah.
So I just get rid of Krypton, give me more of the Kents, and give me more Gene Hackman. I'll take 1,000 Gene Hackmans for one Marlon Brando.
And then just get to Megalopolis at light speed. Megalopolis. Metropolis. Oh Jesus.
I was so confused for a minute.
Brain bleed. I'm brain bleeding over here.
Oh, that sucks. That's the one thing Superman can't help you with.
He just looks at it. He's like, "Yep, that's bleeding."
I'm curious what you guys think of this as a complaint, because like I said, I re-listened to my episode on this movie and I got to the end, and one of the notes Julio from the Contrarians and I made when we were talking about this movie was, would this movie have been better It definitely would have been darker, and I don't mean to turn this into a Zack Snyder movie, but would this movie have been better at the end if Lois stays dead? And Superman learns this harsh lesson of, sure, he's the most powerful person on Earth, but he can't be everywhere and he can't save everybody all the time. And it becomes this, okay, I've learned my limitations. I'm going to try to be even better next time, but these are the limitations of who I am. Instead of, I'm going to go turn the Earth backwards and everything's fine and happy. And like I said, I don't want all my superhero movies to be dark and gritty. I'm not saying that. There's a time and a place for that, and I don't think it's Superman at all. But you're going to kill Lois. Boy, I feel like there's something there that shows the limitations to who Superman actually is. For all the people who endlessly bitch that he's too powerful and he's boring, I think there's something there where he has to learn something at the end instead of just like, screw it, I can fix everything, it's fine. Because once you get into Superman flies up and turns the planet back, you've now erased any drama from his life.
Yeah.
Like, the next 4 movies are pointless to me because what threatens this guy?
I hate
just
I
fly-
hate
just
the
fly
time
any
reversal.
threat away.
I hate it. I don't like it's cheap and it makes him look stupid too. Because why is he not doing that all the time? Right? When
Mhm.
anything happens, he should just be doing that. Why isn't he doing that? Is he stupid? If he
Look, they just
right?
need a scene.
If he
They need
knows
a
that he
scene where
can.
Brando. They just need a scene where Brando tells him, "Hey, you have this option. You can only do it once. You
Yeah,
can only do it once."
I don't
If
like
you do it more than once, the planet will explode.
I don't like the time reversal. It's stupid. It's cheap. It made child me for many years think that that's how the rotation of the Earth and time functioned.
Thank God you learned that's not how it works.
Yeah, I learned that just last week. Um, yeah, I don't like it. I don't know if you kill Lois. I think maybe you kill someone else.
Kill Jimmy.
Okay, that's fair.
I
That's fair.
I
You
think
killed Jimmy.
you kill Jimmy. I don't know. Kill Ma Kent. Right? Have more Kents and kill her. Just put someone other than Lois in that situation, and you kill them, and it works. But it's just, I know they put Lois in it for the drama, but then they just ruined it all because like, oh, he can just time travel. What's he doing?
Save Paul Kent. Like he
Yeah.
dies from
Yeah,
he dies from
reverse the
something
Earth
happening.
and get him to a hospital an hour earlier.
Yeah, go all the way back and be like, fix your cholesterol.
And then he gets to the hospital and dies anyway.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I don't like it. But yeah, they really put themselves into a corner when they're like, and Lois will die. Like, just put someone else in there, right? Just put Jimmy. If you're not going to have more of the Kents where you can put Ma Kent and people will care, then put Jimmy. I know people won't like to see when Jimmy dies, but at least in this movie, if he had died, he would have gotten, actual screen time instead of, 6 seconds and nobody knew it was him until the credits.
It was a CIA operative.
Fucking Zack Snyder.
Do we want to get back to the positives?
I do have one more negative.
Oh boy, here
it's,
it is.
It's very nitpicky. I think it ends very abruptly.
I think a lot of movies do, though. Like, not nowadays. Nowadays, movies have 38 endings and have to milk every single epilogic scene that you possibly can to make movies feel like everything is resolved. But funny, like when you watch older movies, yeah, they just ended. They were just like, all right, we're done.
I mean,
Hey, we're getting out of here, guys.
I'd much rather a movie just ends than the whole, and there's 20 more minutes, even though the final act is over. We're gonna have a 20-minute epilogue. But
Yeah.
I do feel when this ended, I was like, oh, that's it? Like it feels like it kind of like Luther just is in prison and it's over, and like we don't really get a follow-up with like Superman. It's just like Luther's in prison and he smiles at us, and it's like, well, what's I don't know. Give me
And Superman just has no sense for how the justice system works. He just flies them to prison, like, hey, I caught these knuckleheads. Put them away.
Yeah, I'm not asking.
like,
I'm
"That's
not
not how
asking
this-
for 38
not how this
endings.
works."
Like I'm not asking for 38 endings. Like like whatever the last superhero movie with 38 endings is was probably some Marvel movie. But I don't know. I just feel like when it ended, I was like, oh, that's it.
Maybe that's a you problem.
It could be. I have many mental issues.
Needs more endings. I'm writing that down for you. I really, really, really like the love story in this. I'm typically not like the give me the love story, but I'm also not one of those like Gen Z kids running around like, you better not have sex in this movie. I'll be really upset at you. But I love how just love the little conversation between Lois and Superman, and just how flirty it is, and yeah, and they take their time with it too,
I like how
instead of
Yeah,
just
their
like,
chemistry is off the chart.
Mhm.
I appreciate how they have more sexual chemistry when he's Superman than when he's Clark.
yeah, them getting robbed at
Right? Like
gunpoint.
when he's Clark in there with her, it's like, oh, it's kind of cute and quirky. But then, like when he lands on her roof, like you're like, oh my god, like before they even say anything to each other, you're just like, when are they gonna do it? Because it's gonna happen, right? And you're like, and I want them to.
You're waiting for the sex scene. You're like, come on, come on.
Yeah,
I already know you guys
you're
are
like,
into each other.
get to it, buddy.
Come on.
I've seen Superman Returns. I know these two had sex at least one time.
The yeah, just the whole she quizzing him, and like he looks at her lungs, which is like, whoa, man, you guys just had like 3 sentences together and you're already looking at her lungs. But then she immediately is like, well, what color underwear am I wearing? And but they also use it as a moment to like teach us that he can't see through lead.
Yeah,
And I'm in that moment, I'm watching it and I'm like, she's gonna put that in the paper. She's gonna put that in the paper, and that's gonna cause him some trouble.
yeah.
Like, she's just gonna write about his weakness and put it in the paper.
I love how like she asks, well, what color underwear am I wearing? And like they switch topics, and in the middle of like their new conversation, when he gets a glimpse, he's like, oh, pink. She's like, what? Pink? You're wearing pink underwear. And she's just like, oh, do you like pink? I like it very much. And she's like, fucking do it already, man.
Just have sex. Come on.
It's so good. God, remember when
Why aren't you doing it?
remember when they made movies where people had sexual chemistry?
Glenn Powell remembers. He's trying. He's trying.
It's true. He's trying. He's trying. And we thank him for
Then
it.
they go out flying, and it's I mean, it's very obvious everyone's like rigged up, but it's just this nice moment of them flying. He drops her for a minute, and then they just get back to flying. She's like, nah, I want to keep flying. That's cool.
So I had a question about that. Does he drop her because he's screwing with her, or does she like pull away her hand too much? Like she's so lost in the moment that she pulls her hand away a little too much and falls. Because boy, is it a weird moment if he just like whoopsie daisies her.
It has to be her, right?
I think it's her. I think it's her getting too close to the source and just, the fallout from that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, is it victim blaming if we say it was her?
Well, she doesn't die, so I don't know that she's a victim. So I think I'll allow it.
You know what? She
But if she
wasn't.
did, he could
she
just
was.
reverse it.
She was enjoying it. She wasn't a victim.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Oh, no.
No, I
He was
didn't mean
wearing
it like
pink
that.
underwear. No, but I love how, like, in that moment, they're basically flying next to each other. Like, it's Peter Pan and Wendy who can fly after Peter gets the dust on her. And I think there's even a reference to Peter Pan, right?
Yes, she says like, so you're like Peter Pan or something when he's talking about flying, and he's like, no, Peter Pan's a child or whatever.
I'm a man.
It's so no,
A Superman, if you will.
it's really good flirting.
Great flirting. And
I
again, I
appreciate
know
it.
I said it. I know I've been joking about it the whole show, but I appreciated that the end game wasn't a big light in the sky that was going to obliterate us all. I like that it was the Earth that was going to obliterate us all. And just simple, stupid little Superman's got to stop this before the coast goes away. Great.
It's a nice little touch that I really love, is that like when Luthor first appears, he's got hair. Well, Lex Luthor's supposed to be bald,
Right.
but every time he shows up, you can tell like he's wearing a wig, and they never mention it, and it's just like they just make it very obvious he's wearing different wigs.
And they're all great wigs too.
They're all great wigs, but like you're looking like, wait a minute, that's not his hair. His hair was different. Oh, that's a wig. And then another scene he's wearing oh no, that's a different wig. And then boom, he's in prison and the wig comes off.
The good
I
rule.
like
of
how
threes.
indignant he is when he pulls the wig off too. He's like, I'm Lex Luthor.
Yeah. It's just I don't know.
Who is this knuckle-
I really like little details like that. Well, we're gonna make him have hair because Gene Hackman doesn't want to wear a bald cap this whole movie. Let's do it this way. It's like I don't know.
Talk about
that's
little
how they made movies.
details. talk about little details, and Nick earlier referenced the scene where they get mugged. I love the scene where they get mugged because we had talked about the difference in how he plays Clark versus how he plays Superman. And that is one of the few moments where you see him as Clark become Superman without really becoming Superman. Because, like, the guy pulls the gun on him and then he immediately steps in front of Lois, like, without any question. Like, he's still trying to be Clark in that moment, but he's also Superman and he's not going to let anything happen to her. And I love the subtlety of how he just steps in front of her immediately and is just like, nope, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah. And I'm going to use that to segue into maybe my biggest positive for this movie. It's just Superman saving people and stopping crimes, and he's just a good guy.
Yes.
And I love it.
Saves
And
a cat from a tree.
he saves a cat from a tree. The little girl's like, "Oh my god, mom! He flew down and saved the cat from a tree." And then the mom doesn't believe her, so she smacks her.
Oh man, 70s parenting.
Yeah, but he's just a nice guy who's going around saving people. The helicopter rescue is amazing.
Stopping the guy from the diamond heist guy from scaling the building with his suction cups.
Yeah, he's just standing there. He's like, "Something wrong with the elevator?" I love that shit. And I know, Stu, the first time I was on your show we were talking about Superman 4. And by God, the only positive thing we had to say about that movie is that there's a scene where he stops a runaway subway train, and at the end of it, he's still telling people, "You should still take the subway, though."
He loves his public transportation.
And it's just like, and that's why I think that's why when people talk about, well, Christopher Reeve is still the best Superman, because that's what Superman is. And he just does that shit. He's like, "Yeah, something wrong with the elevator? I'll save this cat from a tree. Yeah, this runaway train almost killed you all, but you should still take the subway. Public transportation is good."
Guy hits him with the crowbar and he just turns around. Oh, bad vibrations.
Yeah, I love that. It's so good.
It would just if it were done in a movie today, it would just be too edgy. It'd be instead of the something wrong with the elevator, it'd be like going up or something like that.
Yeah, and if it was done today, he'd just be quipping.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I guess it is being done today.
It is.
Because there's a new.
It's being done in a few days.
Yeah, in a week it comes out, and I don't think he will be quipping. Actually, there's a scene in the trailer where he goes, "Buddy, eyes up here," which I guess isn't a quip. That's a very Superman thing to say.
If it were done today, the romantic scene, he opens it with your panties pink. He just says that first.
He just lands on the balcony. He just lands on the balcony. Nice pink.
And he's got the Joe Rogan Experience playing in his ear. He's just a manosphere Superman.
Oh, if Man of Steel came out today, he would be.
I mean, if Snyder had done his homework, that Superman would have reversed the Earth, so that tornado wouldn't have taken his father.
I do kind of feel bad for Henry Cavill because I feel like Henry Cavill wanted to play a Superman like this, and that's not what he was given.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Cavill's not the problem with those movies. I know we've knocked his portrayal of Clark Kent versus Superman, but Cavill's great. Like,
Yeah.
he just didn't have good material to work with. That's not his fault.
Yeah, and I do wonder, like, how good the new one will be with a guy who has good material and also seems to get it. Will
Yeah.
he be as good as Reeve? I mean, probably not, but who's to say? Because as great as Reeve is, and he's amazing, and he gets it, he's also the only one that's really had good material.
Yes. I worry, and now we're just talking about something else. That's fine. I like to segue personally, but I worry the new Superman movie's going to be too full of other characters. Like, oh, Mr. Terrific's in it, and Guy Gardner's in it, and the Engineer is in it. And it's just like, okay, these are a lot of characters that aren't Superman in my Superman movie, and I don't understand why they're going to need to be there.
Yeah, that's a thought I've had as well. The two things keeping me in check are I do trust that James Gunn, he does know how to juggle a lot of characters. And
Yeah.
and the other thing is, and this is just speculation because I don't know what the movie's about. I do think having a Superman in a universe where there are already superheroes, but that's are like seemingly corporate sponsored superheroes, and Superman rolls in and he's just like, "No, I'm just saving people because it's a good thing to do." I do think that's an interesting idea because we like the times we live in. It's like, yeah, you don't just give us Superman. There would be other heroes. We've seen just Superman. How would Superman, you know, be in a world where there's already heroes and they're kind of just shit? They're superheroes, but they're like superheroes for corporate sponsorships, like corporately owned superheroes. Like we'll save you, but like give us a Gatorade deal,
Save for pay.
right? And then Superman rolls in and he's just like, and he's just saving people like kittens from trees just because that's how he was raised. And I think I think if the movie does something like that, that is interesting and does differentiate it, but I can see where it's like, yeah, just give me Superman. Just give me Superman and Lex. I don't need Guy Gardner as much as I love that bowl cut.
And I love Nathan Fillion too, so I'm excited
Yeah.
for that. And don't get me wrong, all year long, this has been my most anticipated movie of the year. I don't know what there is to anticipate after I get to see Superman, but there are aspects, I'm just saying there are aspects of it that
Yeah.
make me a little wary, but I'm going into it very much expecting to come out liking this movie.
Yeah, and I'm like, I saw the trailer, I was like, do we really need a kaiju fight like right away? And they're showing it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, just give me Superman and Lex, and he's fighting all these robots, and he's punching people's teeth, and they're coming out at the camera like it's 3D. I'm like, just give me Superman and Lex. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, we've gotten Superman and Lex. We can maybe have these things, and I'm sure, and James Gunn has earned my trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this movie. Any other positives? Any other positives before we rank it?
No, I think we talked. I mean, I have anyway. I think I've talked about everything I love about this movie. I love it a great
Yeah.
deal, and it does almost everything right.
It does. I'm just gonna quickly touch on it because nobody mentioned it. This is definitely the best superhero theme of all time, right? Like the song.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
The Avengers theme is good. The Avengers theme is very good. It's a strong number 2, and Danny Elfman's Batman theme that they ended up using for Batman the Animated Series, that's a number 2 or a number 3.
Yeah,
But
I do like the Avengers theme. I do
say
have
all 3 of those are very strong.
I do have a problem with the Avengers theme in that, like, it's a good theme and I like it, but whenever it comes on, I never immediately know what it is.
Okay.
Like it'll
You gotta
come on.
wait for those. You gotta wait for those notes.
It'll come on and it'll be like, I know this. What is it? I like this. And then I'm like, oh yeah, Avengers. As opposed to this, which is like it's Superman. It's like you know it right away. Like that's Superman.
Yeah.
You know
Like
it
this,
immediately, yeah.
like this theme is so good that every Superman movie that's ever come out, they're like, where's the theme? And they're using it for the new one now because they were just like, let's stop trying to make a new one.
Yeah, it's the J.K. Simmons thing where they brought him back as J. Jonah Jameson in the MCU. Like,
Yeah.
you've done something perfect. Don't try to redo it.
Yeah. Just like how they were like, listen, we've done something perfect. Robert Downey Jr. in an iron mask. Let's do it again.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
It's like every time they do a Spider-Man sequel, they're like, "Hey, you know what? We should just stuff villains into this, right?" It worked in Spider-Man 3 did it pretty well, and then they were doing the newest one. They're like, "Hey, Amazing Spider-Man 2 had a lot of villains. Let's do it again," and they just keep stubbing their toe and never learning.
And it's weird that Spider-Man 3 still did it the best.
Yeah, I like Topher Grace as what is that, Flash?
Eddie
No,
Brock.
not Flash. Eddie Brock. Yeah,
Yeah. He's grown
I
on
like
me.
it.
He's grown on me.
he's amazing. He's amazing.
I still would have preferred a Spider-Man 3 that was just Sandman, but
I liked it. It was trying thing. It has a jazz scene. I'm down for it.
It's underrated, and everything that everybody complains about Spider-Man 3 for is present in the other 2 Spider-Man movies that Raimi did. So I don't understand what people's complaints are. They're like, "Oh, it's too campy. Oh, it's
I
too
love
silly."
Spider-Man 3.
Did you watch
I
the first 2? They're campy and silly.
I love Spider-Man 3. I'll go to bat for Spider-Man 3 every day of the week. People complain about Emo Peter. Emo Peter is there. Everything about Emo Peter is purposely done. He's supposed to be a loser,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Like he's supposed to be cringe. It works,
Yeah, that's the whole. Yeah, it's the whole point. And people are like,
right?
man, they're like taking it at face value, and it's like, you're not supposed to be.
Yeah, like you're supposed to be like, that's lame, because he is lame, because that's what
Yeah.
a nerd would think is cool.
Right.
Yeah, he's being taken over by the symbiote. He's not supposed to be the super happy protagonist at this point.
Yeah.
You're supposed to think there's something wrong with him. That's the point.
There are problems with Spider-Man 3. Emo Peter Parker is not one of them.
I agree.
But let's rate Superman. I will start with Nick because I saw his letterbox review, and I think he's the lowest of the three.
So on Letterboxd, I gave it a 4, but just talking about it with you guys, I'm going to give it a 4.5. Honestly, the biggest gripe is just the first 45 minutes just being so slow, but still a lot of fun and just a great Christopher Reeves doing two roles that feel completely different from one another. So yeah, 4.5.
Yeah, I'm also giving it a 4.5. This is perfect movie if you take out the Krypton stuff.
Krypton.
Yeah, I also have it as a 4.5. My such as it is problem that I have with this movie is actually at the other end, like the spinning and the turning time back around. I think that kind of ruins some stuff going forward, like we talked about, where like just solve all his problems this way now.
Yeah,
But everything's great. Everything's great. So I don't really care that much about that.
it's like you watch Superman 2 and Zod's running amok, and you're just like, is Superman stupid? Why isn't he reversing time? He's done it before. Yeah, almost perfect movie. The real question, gentlemen, where does it rank on the dad meter?
I think it's pretty close to 100. Like, if not 100, I'd say like 90, 95.
I think so too. I think part of me wants to be like, well, it's a superhero movie, so it can't be a fully dad movie, but at the same time, this is a real movie.
But I think Superman breaks like the superhero mold. I think, if a dad sees like Fantastic Four, they're like, what do you need four of them for when one will do it? Why do you need four? A dad sees Superman. That's like, that's like apple pie. That's like a truck. That's America.
And I feel like Gene Hackman adds like 50 points, right? For every dad.
Yeah.
You put
Brando too.
Brando.
Oh, Brando especially, yeah.
Brando, Hackman. Hackman's got a hot henchwoman, so that adds some points. Dads will like Miss Tessmacher.
Miss Tessmacher. Yeah, the first time they see her, their glasses go, wow, 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 wow. they just do the Mel Brooks.
I think I'll agree with that 95.
Yeah.
Stu, what do you think?
That feels about right. Yeah. No, I feel like 90, 95 feels about right. You have dads walk in and they see something from the MCU, they see something the DC is doing now, and they're like, nah, let me tell you when it was better. And they're gonna talk about this movie.
Yeah. All right. So we've established that Superman 1978 is a 95% dad movie. That means it is dad certified.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. You know what isn't dad certified? Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Is that our I didn't know you were waiting for me. Is that our IMDb knuckleheads negative Nancy's of the week?
It is.
So for those who don't know, IMDb has a section where you can put in goofs for a movie, and for some reason people go in and find the most nitpicky thing about a movie and write it down and for the world to see instead of just enjoying a movie at face value. And we pick out our favorites because these are some knuckleheads. I'll go first.
I just want to specify. When he means favorites, he means they're our least favorite things we've ever seen.
Oh yeah, we're not like when we pick these out, we're not mad at them. We're just disappointed.
We're disappointed.
We wag our finger and say you have better uses of your time than doing this.
We also established in our Sunshine episode, which has not aired yet, that it's Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's always Neil deGrasse Tyson. Every IMDb goof ever submitted is just Neil deGrasse Tyson.
He's just not. He's not a happy man.
Yeah.
He's got all those brains, but he's just not happy. And so there's a rogue agent. So at play this time around, I think there's a rogue agent on IMDb because somebody went into a bunch of these, and underneath the original goof, something has been written.
Ooh,
like debunking the goof almost.
So you got someone.
I saw this multiple times on this movie. This is a stand and watch first. So I want you guys to keep an eye out for the IMDb vigilante. We need to crack this code. We need to find out who this is.
So you're saying that there's some sort of Superman trying to save us from these IMDb goofballs?
There is. He's coming at a time when we need him most. Like box office and film chads are running amok on the internet. So it's about time we had somebody step up.
All right.
And do the right thing because of the way they were rose on the internet. But here's mine, by the way. We'll keep investigating this. I hope this continues. At the end of the workday in the Daily Planet, Clark presses the up button on the elevator when the doors open. He asks if the lift is going down, and an irate passenger retorts, up, up. Clark then presses the down button. Basically, Clark should have pressed the down button the first time if he were going down. And then our vigilante says, this is a deliberate scene done for comedic effect to demonstrate the foolish behavior that Superman is going to be exhibiting as Clark. I applaud the IMDb vigilante.
I agree. Round of applause for whoever this man is, man or woman, who's going around IMDb and putting Neil deGrasse Tyson in his place.
The hero we need.
Stu, why don't you go next?
Sure. So I have one that is four thumbs down on this one. I couldn't find any that had an enormous amount of thumbs down for this movie, but this one has 4, and it is when young Clark is, quote, running, unquote, next to the train, his feet are not touching the ground. Yeah, it's almost like the motherfucker can fly, isn't it?
Oh, Neil. You are the anti Buscemi in that he is our number one listener and you are our number one enemy. All right, I got mine here. And I know we joke, but this one legitimately may have been Neil deGrasse Tyson. As Superman and Lois Lane fly around Metropolis, a full moon lies to the
I almost picked this one. This was my second one. If you didn't call this one out, I was going to say, wait, I have a second one. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
As Superman and Lois Lane fly around Metropolis, a full moon lies to the north of the Big Dipper, an astronomical impossibility. Yeah, you know what else is an
I didn't realize Copernicus was commenting on IMDb.
Oh, what a reference. You know what else is an astronomical impossibility? The planet Krypton. Sending a baby through space. That baby landing on Earth and lifting a van because he can fly and have super strength because he's charged by the sun. You know what else is an astronomical impossibility? Neil, who I know wrote this, being able to see through clothing so you know what color panties people are wearing. Believe me, I've
flying
tried.
Around with that journalist. Matt, are you? Hold on, let me cover your eyes. Are you the vigilante that I am seeking?
Where's the goofball?
Oh man. Hey, I know I haven't had a dad joke in the recent episodes, but I have a dad joke this week.
Ooh. Go
I sent
ahead.
it to you. It's not the best, but it is a dad joke.
Did you send it to me?
I did. In the air, it's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a bird flying into a plane. That's all I got.
All right. Clark Kent is usually an ace reporter, but there was just a gang shooting in LA and he refuses to cover it. He just didn't want to deal with the kryptonite.
That's good. That's good. I don't have one. I struggled all day trying to think of a dad joke for this movie. I couldn't manage one for this one.
Yeah, it is our hardest segment. Guests are very much off the hook.
I had one for prospects, so I'm 50-50. I'm batting 500. I'll take that.
That's true. Prospect.
What's Superman's Superman's favorite pop star?
Who?
Pink.
That was better than the one you said. You should have just gone with that.
I like keeping my options open. I'm experimenting with dad jokes, okay?
Right. Well, I mean, there's no wheel spin, and Stu's already taken the dad questionnaire.
Let him plug. Let him plug.
Yeah, it's time to plug.
Sure. So the podcast is the Stew World Order podcast where we review random comic book movies. As we noted earlier, my next episode coming out a few days from this, July 12th, is going to feature you two gentlemen and us talking about Men in Black 2. And the website, as always, is swoproductions.com, where we have new articles every single weekday. So check that out. I put a lot of work into the website, man. Like, podcasting is hard, but new articles every single weekday, that's harder.
Every
visit
weekday,
the website. I put a lot of effort into that crap.
Every weekday astounds me. I can barely have one Substack post a week.
Same.
I had one go
now,
up.
granted, I'm not the only person who writes for my website. I do have AP and Jabronyville doing articles. Like, they usually have stuff that comes out around the same time too, but that still leaves like 3 to 4 articles a week that I've got to be doing. So
yeah, that's
why
tough.
I'm doing a lot of movie reviews these days. And thankfully, Pop-Tarts just released a bunch of new flavors, so Pop-Tart Quest continues where I review all the flavors of Pop-Tarts. So luckily they gave me a deluge of new flavors to review.
I love that you review Pop-Tart flavors.
That's amazing.
There's so many. There's an ungodly amount of Pop-Tart flavors.
What is
I
your
was in Walmart one day, like 10 years ago, I was in Walmart and I just looked down the cereal aisle and I was like, why are there so many of these? And then it
What-
just dawned on me, like, somebody's got to do it.
what is your rating scale for Pop-Tarts?
It depends on the tart. Every tart gets a taste rating and an overall rating, and then they'll get like 2 things in between that are specific to that tart in particular. So it'll be like, how about the content or the texture of this one? How do I feel about the sub flavor in general? It's usually just random nonsense.
Do you eat them hot or cold, or do you do like one of each?
For a long time, I was doing one of each and I was comparing how you should eat them, toasted versus untoasted. But it turns out that like every single tart is better toasted. So I've just started eating them all toasted.
You know, the cookies and cream. I don't know if I'm putting you on this for the first time. I used to eat that one frozen. Like I would pull it out of the freezer in the morning and eat that one frozen.
Pop-Tarts, the box tells me that I should try them frozen, but I don't trust that.
It's just cookies and cream. I couldn't tell you
that
any
one.
other ones.
Okay, fair enough. I usually end up with a bunch left that I don't eat. So I have some chocolate chip pancake ones. I have some thin mint ones. I will try freezing them and see how they turn out frozen too. And I might have to do a follow-up review to note on that.
Thin mint sounds like it'd be really good.
Okay, I hate to put you on the spot, but I feel like this is something that our listenership as a dad movie podcast would love to know. What is, as a Pop-Tart reviewer, the best Pop-Tart you've tasted so far?
The best Pop-Tart I've ever had is one that is currently not available. It was like a short-lived period of time. It was chocolate peanut butter. It was
Ooh.
so good. So good. And then there was a chocolate salted caramel that was number 2. It was like, it was eating a caramello bar, except it was a Pop-Tart. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. Because prior to the chocolate salted caramel, there was a Pop-Tart called just chocolatey caramel. Not good. So if they ever re-release these, I will let you know in advance. Chocolatey caramel, not that good. Chocolate salted caramel, exactly what you want it to be.
What's the worst Pop-Tart you've ever had?
Ooh.
Oh, watermelon. Watermelon or
Really?
Fruit Loop.
Ooh.
Fruit Loop was also terrible.
Yeah, I'm a big cherry and strawberry guy, so I think I'd like watermelon. But now you've got me. Like
See,
I trust your taste.
I usually like watermelon flavored things, but I do feel
You
like
might then.
I do feel like watermelon would not mesh with a Pop-Tart.
It doesn't, and to be, for complete transparency's sake, I don't like watermelons in general. Like, I don't like the fruit watermelon. So, watermelon flavoring is like, watermelon flavored candy I'm usually okay with, but it's one of my least favorites. The watermelon Pop-Tarts, I ate exactly 2. I ate the 2 that I do for the Quest, and I pitched the rest. And the same thing with the Fruit Loops flavored Pop-Tarts. I ate the 2 that I did for the Quest, and then I just gave the rest away at work.
Yeah,
Fruit Loops Pop-Tarts, just surprisingly bad. Surprisingly bad. I can't even grasp how bad those were in my brain.
I'm not very well versed in Pop-Tarts. I think the best flavor I ever had was s'mores.
S'mores
S'mores is
pretty good.
one of the best of the, the basic flavors, the ones you can find 24/7 in your grocery store. S'mores is the best.
Yeah.
Brown sugar's up there for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another good one.
I like the basic chocolate fudge. Those are good.
Chocolate fudge, the chocolate chip cookie ones are pretty good.
Yeah, cherry. I like the cherry ones.
Cherry, blueberry's okay. I'd probably put blueberry towards the bottom for the common. Look at me talking about Pop-Tarts like they're like they're magic cards or Pokemon cards. Yeah, that's a common Pop-Tart. You'll find that in a lot of packs.
This is a 9.9 grade Pop-Tart, as you can see, unopened, unbroken seal.
You put it in the casing.
Fuck,
Try to sell it on eBay.
I want Pop-Tarts now. I'm on a diet. God, I haven't had sweets in like a year. I'm gonna fucking have a Pop-Tart now.
Oh, that's unimaginable to me. I eat sweets all the damn time.
I used to as well, but
I joke that I am living proof that if I don't have diabetes, it doesn't actually exist.
I had to cut it all. I had to cut it all out. I was like 200 pounds. I had to do it. I'm like,
Oh, you don't look anywhere near. You've dropped a lot of weight then.
Yeah,
You are a skinny mini.
I lost 50 pounds. I'm still like 10 I'm
Nice.
still like 10 pounds away from my goal weight, and my plan is once I reach it, I'm going to like a diner to have a slice of pie.
And gain it all back off that one piece of pie. You eat that pie, you walk out with your gut.
No, that's my plan. Like I'm gonna once that scale says my goal weight, I'm going to the diner and I'm having some pie.
What kind of pie?
I don't know. It depends what pie they have. Maybe probably apple, some ice cream.
All right. I had Cheesecake Factory for the first time the other day, and cheesecake turns out pretty good.
I love cheesecake.
Never had cheesecake before?
No, I've had cheesecake, but not just from the not from the Cheesecake Factory. The thing that
I was
blew my
gonna say,
mind
that's
though
a-
was like a BLT I had with avocado on it. It was BLT, avocado, and chicken. I'm still thinking about it like a week
I was
later.
going to be very envious of you if you, in a short period of time, got to experience Superman the movie and cheesecake for the first time in your life.
I'm doing it. I'm doing
what
a
a
farewell
week.
tour for America. Doing all the stuff that America loves before the going out of business sale.
Yeah.
Superman, cheesecake, fireworks.
Fireworks, baseball. I got to try baseball still.
Yeah. I guess now you need to get diabetes.
I'm well on my way. The amount of cheesecake I ate the other day.
All right. Well, that is gonna do it for the show, everybody. Leave a review if you want. No, not even if you
Do
don't
it.
want. Leave a review. I'm not gonna tell you what to review us. A lot of podcasts tell you leave a certain stars. Do whatever you want. We don't care. Just leave the review. Just
Look, we murder a lot of other podcasters. You really think we're up? We really think we're not going to murder you if you don't leave a podcast? I mean, we will. We'll find you.
leave
Our
a review.
podcast services give us your address. That's that's what happens when you listen to a podcast. Those podcasters get your address. We get all your personal information.
Yeah, we have it as we speak. I'm looking at a list. I know who hasn't reviewed yet. The clock's ticking.
Joey Smith in Kansas City, Missouri at 12345 Helpful Street. Your eye color is blue. I've got that. What else do you think I got?
Yeah, we have it all. We have pictures of your families.
Jesus Christ.
So
we had to pay extra for that. We had to pay extra for that from the podcast service.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So leave that review. You better do it, and tell a friend, because in these trying times, the algorithm not very useful.
The algorithm, it doesn't like the pores. And do we look like rich famous people?
They don't even know what we look like. We have to, if you want to, you'll have to pay us money. That'll be our first Patreon perk.
We are independent media. People love that.
That's true. But yeah, leave a review. Tell if you're not gonna tell anybody, at least tell your father. Yeah, all you have to say is listen to this podcast. It's Steve Buscemi's favorite podcast, and then once you explain to them what a podcast is, they will be rushing out to listen to us, and we'll be very grateful. And yeah, tell your friends, tell your family, but remember, whatever you do, don't tell your mother.